I didn't defend myself at the meeting. That's the part people never understand. When my father threw the audit report across the conference table and it hit my chest, I just sat there, the papers scattered across my lap, red circles around withdrawal dates, my signature, my access codes, my login stamps on every single transaction. I looked at the numbers and I didn't say a word. Please like, subscribe to my channel and comment where you are listening from. Thank you. Let's continue. My father was standing. His face was purple. His hands were shaking like he wanted to hit me, but couldn't decide if I was worth the energy anymore. $340,000. Marcus, $340,000 over 8 months. You're going to sit there and tell me you have nothing to say? I had everything to say. I said nothing. David was sitting 2 chairs away from me. My younger brother, 29 years old, head of residential projects, clean shirt, steady hands. He was looking at me the way you look at a stranger who just got arrested on the street, concerned but distant, like he felt bad for me but also needed to make sure everyone knew he wasn't involved. Marcus. David's voice was soft, reasonable. If you needed money, you could have asked. You didn't have to do this to Dad, to the company, to all of us. That's when I almost spoke, because David knew I didn't need money. David knew exactly how much I made. David knew I'd turned down 3 higher-paying offers in the past year to stay with the family business because Dad asked me to. David knew everything because I told him everything. But if I spoke, I would have to say his name. And if I said his name, I would have to explain why his gambling debts matched the withdrawal amounts. I would have to explain why I found the accounts. Why I saw the threats from the loan companies. Why I watched him spiral for months and didn't tell anyone because he begged me not to. "You're my brother," he'd said to me 6 months earlier, crying in my apartment at 2 in the morning. "You're the only person I can trust. If Dad finds out, he'll destroy me. I'll fix it. I just need time." So I gave him time, and he used that time to make it look like I did it. If you've ever protected someone who was drowning and then watched them push you under to save themselves, leave a comment and stay with me, because this gets worse. My father was waiting for an answer. The whole executive team was in that room. Uncle Paul, Lisa from accounting, Tom from legal, everyone I'd worked with for 7 years, everyone who knew me, everyone who watched me build the residential division from 3 projects to 32. They were all looking at me like I was already gone. "I don't have anything to say," I finally said. My voice sounded hollow, not because I was lying, because I was choosing something more important than the truth. I was choosing to let David live with what he did. My father sat down slowly. He looked 10 years older than he had that morning. "Then you're done. Clear your office today. I don't want you on the property after 5 o'clock. I nodded. David was still watching me. I could see it in my peripheral vision. He was waiting to see if I would break, if I would point at him, if I would drag him down with me. I stood up. I picked up my phone and my keys. I walked out of the conference room and I didn't look back. The office was silent when I walked through it. People turned away from their computers, but they didn't say anything. Jenny from HR was crying at her desk. She'd worked with me on the new hire training program. She'd told me 2 weeks earlier that her daughter got into college because of the bonus structure I fought for. She didn't look at me when I passed. I packed my office in 20 minutes. 7 years in cardboard boxes. Photos of job sites. Awards from the Regional Builders Association. The paperweight my father gave me when I made senior VP. I left it on the desk. My phone rang 4 times while I was packing. The first call was from my fiancée, Rachel. I didn't answer. The second call was from my best friend, Marcus. I didn't answer. The third call was from David. I looked at his name on the screen for a long time. He was probably sitting in his office right now, watching to make sure I actually left, making sure I didn't go to Dad's office and change my mind about staying quiet. I didn't answer. The fourth call was from a number I didn't recognize. I answered that one because I thought it might be a client who didn't know yet. Marcus Chen? The voice was male, professional, cold. "Yeah." "This is Detective Ramirez with Phoenix PD. we'd like to ask you some questions about financial irregularities at Chen Construction. Can you come to the station tomorrow morning? My father had called the police, not to investigate, to make sure everyone knew it was real. I told the detective I'd be there at 9. Then I carried my boxes to my car and I drove to my apartment and I sat in my living room with my phone in my hand. Rachel was calling again. Then my mother. Then my father's lawyer. I didn't answer any of them because the moment I started talking, I would have to choose. Tell the truth and destroy David, or lie and destroy myself. I chose a third option. I chose to disappear. Not physically, not yet, but in every way that mattered, I was already gone. I stopped answering questions, stopped defending myself, stopped trying to make people understand. I let them believe the worst possible thing about me, and I watched what that belief did to them. Rachel broke up with me 3 days later. She came to my apartment and she didn't even come inside. She stood in the doorway and she cried and she said, "I can't marry someone I don't know. I thought I knew you, Marcus. I thought you were honest." I wanted to tell her I was honest. That I was so honest, I was taking the blame for someone else's crime because I promised I would. But if I told her, she would tell someone else. And then David would know I broke my silence. And then everything I was protecting would collapse. So I said, "I understand." She looked at me like she was waiting for more, for an explanation, for a fight, for something that proved I cared about losing her. I gave her nothing. She left. I watched her car pull away, and I realized something that made my chest hurt. Silence was starting to cost more than I thought it would, but I was already too far in, because David called me that night, late, after midnight. I was lying in bed staring at the ceiling when my phone lit up with his name. I almost didn't answer, but I did. "Marcus." His voice was shaking. "Are you okay?" "Yeah. I wanted to check on you. I know today was hard." He sounded guilty, like he was trying to convince himself he hadn't just destroyed my life. Like if he called me and I said I was fine, then maybe it wasn't as bad as it looked. "I'm fine," I said. "Dad's really upset. He didn't want to call the police, but the board insisted. They said it looked bad if he didn't. You know how it is." I knew exactly how it was. The board didn't care about justice. They cared about optics, and I was the easy answer. I was the one with access, the one with the signatures, the one who couldn't explain where the money went without saying David's name. "Marcus, David stopped. He was crying. I could hear it in his breathing. "I'm sorry this is happening to you." That's when I should have said it. "You're not sorry it's happening to me. You're sorry you did it." But I didn't say it, because I realized something in that moment. David thought he was safe. He thought I was protecting him out of love. He didn't realize I was protecting him out of something much more dangerous. I was protecting him so he could keep digging. "It's okay," I told him. "Really?" He exhaled. Relief. Like I'd just given him permission to sleep at night. "Thank you, Marcus. I mean it. You're a good brother." I hung up. I sat in the dark for a long time after that call, and I realized the truth was already too heavy to carry back. David thought he won. My father thought he knew who I was. Rachel thought she dodged a bullet. Everyone thought the story was over. But the story wasn't over. It was just starting. Because I wasn't planning revenge. I was just going to let time do what time does. I was going to let David run the company the way he wanted to run it. Let him make the decisions I used to make. Let him handle the pressure I used to handle. Let him manage the projects I used to manage. And I was going to watch what happened when someone who steals $340,000 to cover gambling debts is suddenly in charge of millions. I didn't need to do anything. I just needed to stay quiet a little longer. The morning of my police interview, I woke up at 6. I made coffee. I put on a suit. I drove to the station and I sat across from Detective Ramirez, and his partner and I answered every single question the same way. "Did you take the money?" "I have nothing to say about that." "Do you know who took the money?" "I have nothing to say about that." "Your father is willing to drop the charges if you return the funds." "I have nothing to say about that." They thought I was protecting myself. They didn't realize I was protecting something much more fragile. I was protecting David's chance to destroy himself. 2 weeks after the interview, the Phoenix Business Journal ran a story about Chen Construction. Family business rocked by embezzlement scandal. My name was in the headline. David's name was 3 paragraphs down, listed as stepping into expanded leadership role. I read the article in my apartment. I was barely eating by then, barely sleeping. My savings were running out. I had interviews lined up at other firms, but none of them would hire me once they Googled my name. I was disappearing, exactly like I planned. And while I disappeared, David was rising. He called me once more before I left Phoenix. It was late August, 4 months after the meeting. I was packing my apartment. I decided to leave the city. Start over somewhere no one knew my name. "Marcus, I heard you're leaving," David said. "Yeah, where are you going?" "I don't know yet." He was quiet for a long time. Then he said something that made my hands stop moving. "I'm going to make you proud, Marcus. I'm going to prove that the company can survive this, that we can be stronger. I promise." And I realized right then that David had rewritten the whole story in his head. He wasn't the villain. He was the hero. He was the one who stepped up when his criminal brother abandoned the family. He believed it. That's when I knew I'd won. Not because I hurt him, because he was going to hurt himself. And there was nothing I could do to stop it even if I wanted to. "Good luck, David," I said. I hung up. I finished packing. And I left Phoenix the next morning without telling anyone where I was going. 18 months later, I got a call from Uncle Paul. "Marcus," he said, "I think you need to come home." I didn't recognize Uncle Paul's voice at first. I was working a construction site in Albuquerque when he called. Framing crew, $12 an hour. The kind of work where nobody asks questions and nobody Googles your name before they hire you. "Marcus Chen," he said. I almost hung up. Nobody from Phoenix had my new number. I'd changed it the day I left. Bought a cheap phone at a gas station in Tucson and only gave the number to my landlord and my crew boss. "Who is this?" I said. "It's Paul, your Uncle Paul." I stopped hammering. The guy next to me kept working, but I could tell he was listening. Job sites are like that. Everyone pretends they're not paying attention, but everyone hears everything. "How did you get this number?" I asked. "I hired someone to find you," Paul said. "Don't be mad. I needed to talk to you. It's important." I walked away from the framing station, crossed the dirt lot to where the trucks were parked. My hands were shaking, and I didn't know if it was from the work or from hearing a voice from home. "I don't want to talk about it," I said. "I'm not calling about what happened," Paul said. "I'm calling about what's happening now." "I don't care what's happening now." "Yes, you do." He was right. I did care. I'd spent 18 months pretending I didn't care, pretending I'd moved on, pretending the whole thing was behind me. But every single night when I lay down in my studio apartment in Albuquerque, I thought about Phoenix, about the company, about David sitting in my old office making decisions with my father's name behind him. I thought about whether the residential projects were still running on time, whether the crews were getting paid correctly, whether the safety protocols I built were still being followed. I thought about whether anyone had noticed yet. "What's happening?" I finally asked. Paul exhaled like he'd been holding his breath. "The company is in trouble, Marcus. Real trouble. We're going to lose everything if something doesn't change in the next 60 days. I didn't say anything. "David's in over his head," Paul continued. "He's made some decisions that... Marcus, I need you to come home, not to the company. Just come home and talk to me. Let me explain what's going on. Please." I should have said no. I should have stayed in Albuquerque and kept framing houses and let Phoenix burn without me. But I didn't, because part of me needed to see it. I needed to see what happened when you put someone who steals $340,000 in charge of $40 million in active contracts. "I'll think about it," I said. "Marcus." I hung up. I went back to work, hammered nails for 6 more hours, drove home covered in sawdust, showered in my tiny bathroom, made ramen on my hot plate, and I thought about what Paul said. Real trouble. I'd imagined this moment 100 times. The moment when someone realized David wasn't me, that he couldn't do what I did, that putting him in charge was a mistake, But I never imagined it would happen this fast. 18 months. In 18 months, David had nearly destroyed what took my father 30 years to build. If you've ever waited for someone to fail and then felt sick when they actually did, leave a comment. Because I couldn't sleep that night. I bought a bus ticket to Phoenix 3 days later. I didn't tell Paul I was coming. I didn't tell anyone. I just showed up at his house on a Thursday evening and knocked on his door. He opened it and stared at me like I was a ghost. "Jesus, Marcus," he said, "you look like hell." I probably did. I'd lost 20 pounds. My hair was longer. I had a scar on my forearm from a nail gun accident. I was wearing clothes I bought at Goodwill because everything I owned in Phoenix was gone. "Can I come in?" I asked. He stepped aside. His house looked the same. Same leather furniture. Same photos on the walls. There was a picture of me and David at a job site from 5 years ago. We were both smiling, both wearing hard hats, both young and stupid and convinced we were building something together. Paul saw me looking at it. "I almost took that down," he said. "But I didn't want to pretend you didn't exist." "Everyone else did," I said. "No, not everyone." He went to the kitchen and came back with 2 beers. We sat down. He didn't ask me about Albuquerque. Didn't ask me where I'd been or what I'd been doing. He just started talking. "The Scottsdale project collapsed," he said. 6 months ago. David bid it at a loss because he thought it would lead to more work. It didn't. It led to $900,000 in overruns and a lawsuit from the developer. I drank my beer and didn't react. "The Mesa contract got canceled," Paul continued. "Safety violation? Someone got hurt because David cut corners on scaffolding. OSHA came down hard. We paid a $200,000 fine and lost the contract." "David cut corners?" I asked. Paul looked at me. "You never cut corners." "No. We know that now." I wanted to ask if that meant they believed me, if they understood I didn't take the money. But I didn't ask because I already knew the answer. They didn't believe me. They just needed me. "How bad is it?" I asked. Paul set his beer down. "We're going to miss payroll next month if we don't land the temp contract. And we're not going to land the temp contract because David doesn't know how to bid. Commercial work. He's been using your old formulas, but he doesn't understand them. He's either bidding too high and losing jobs, or bidding too low and losing money." "Where's Dad?" I asked. "Hospital," Paul said quietly. "Heart attack 3 weeks ago. He's stable, but he can't work. Doctor said the stress nearly killed him." Something twisted in my chest. My father was in the hospital because David destroyed the company. And David destroyed the company because I stayed silent. "Does David know you called me?" I asked. "No." "Does anyone?" "No." Paul looked at me for a long time. "Because David thinks he's doing fine. He thinks the problems are temporary. He thinks if he just works harder, everything will turn around. Will it? No." We sat there in silence. The air conditioning kicked on. I could hear kids playing in the street outside. Normal life. Normal people who didn't have to choose between destroying their brother or destroying themselves. "What do you want me to do?" I asked. "Come back," Paul said. "Not publicly, not officially, just come back and help us save the temp bid. If we lose it, we're done. The bank is going to call the loans. We'll have to liquidate. 30 years of work, Marcus, gone. And then what?" I asked. "After I save the bid, after I save the company, what happens then?" "I don't know," Paul said. "But I know we can't survive without you. You survived fine when you thought I was a thief." Paul flinched. "We were wrong." "You don't believe that," I said. "You just need me." "You're right," he said. "I don't know what to believe anymore. But I know my brother is in the hospital and my nephew is drowning and the company is dying. And I know you're the only person who can fix this. So I'm asking you to come home. Not for David, not for your father, for the people who work for you, for Jenny and her daughter, for the crews who are going to lose their jobs when we go under." That was smart. Paul knew I didn't care about David or my father anymore. But he knew I cared about the people who depended on the company. "I need to think about it," I said. "We don't have time for you to think about it," Paul said. "The temp bid is due in 2 weeks. Then you better hope I think fast. I stood up. Paul stood up too. He looked older than I remembered. Tired, scared. "Marcus," he said, "I know what we did to you is wrong. I know we should have believed you, should have investigated more, should have given you a chance to defend yourself. But you didn't defend yourself. You just left. You let us believe the worst. Why?" There it was. The question everyone wanted to ask, but nobody did. Why didn't I fight back? Why didn't I tell the truth? Why did I just disappear? "Because fighting back would have cost more than staying silent," I said. "I don't understand." "You will," I said. I left his house and drove to a motel on the east side. The kind of place that rents by the week and doesn't care who you are. I paid cash for 3 nights, and I lay down on a bed that smelled like bleach and cigarettes. And I thought about what I was about to do. Going back to the company meant seeing David. It meant seeing my father. It meant seeing everyone who believed I stole from my own family. But it also meant something else. It meant I got to watch David realize he was losing. Not to me, to himself. I called Paul the next morning. "I'll help with the temp bid," I said. "But I have conditions." "Anything. I work from your house, not the office. Nobody knows I'm involved. If we win the bid, I disappear again." "What?" "Marcus, if we win the bid, we need you to stay. We need you to run the projects like you used to. Those are my conditions," I said. Paul was quiet. "David is going to find out eventually. Let him. He's going to ask why you came back. Tell him I felt bad for him." Another pause. "You want him to think you're helping him?" "I want him to think he still has control," I said. "Right up until the moment he realizes he never did." Paul didn't ask me what I meant. Maybe he didn't want to know. "Okay," he finally said. "When can you start?" "Tonight." I went to Paul's house after dark. He had the temp bid documents spread across his dining room table. Blueprints, cost estimates, labor schedules. Everything looked professional. Everything was wrong. David had bid the project at $4.2 million. The actual cost would be $5.6 million. If we won the bid at David's price, the project would bankrupt us. "How did he get these numbers?" I asked Paul. "He used your old bid sheets, the ones you left in the system." "These aren't my numbers," I said. "These are my numbers from 2019. Material costs are up 30% since then. Labor costs are up 40%. Did he not adjust anything?" Paul looked sick. I don't think he knew he was supposed to. That's when I understood. David didn't just steal from the company. He stole my job without understanding how to do it. He thought construction management was just showing up and telling people what to build. He didn't understand the math, the planning, the relationships with suppliers, the weather delays, the permit issues, the 1,000 small decisions that turn a blueprint into a building. He thought he could fake it. And for 18 months, he'd been faking it. And now the bill was coming due. I pulled out my laptop. Paul watched while I rebuilt the entire bid from scratch. I called suppliers I used to work with. They recognized my voice. Some of them asked where I'd been. I told them I was consulting now. Didn't mention the company. Didn't mention David. Just got the numbers I needed and hung up. By 3 in the morning, I had a new bid. $6.1 million. It was higher than David's bid, but it was honest. It was real. It would actually make us money if we won. "They're going to reject this," Paul said. "The developer wants the lowest bid. The developer wants the lowest bid that won't collapse in 6 months," I said. "I'm going to show him why ours is worth the premium." I spent the next week rebuilding the entire proposal. Not just the numbers, the pitch, the timeline, the safety record, the client references. I interviewed every subcontractor, negotiated better rates, found ways to cut costs without cutting corners. I did what I used to do. I built something that would work. Paul submitted the bid on Friday morning. David's name was on it. David presented it to the developer. David shook hands and smiled and acted like he built the whole thing himself. I watched from Paul's car in the parking lot across the street. David looked confident walking into that meeting. He looked smaller walking out. Paul called me 20 minutes later. "We got it," I know. How did you know? Because I built it right, I said. And David's been building things wrong for 18 months. The developer could probably tell the difference. So what now? Paul asked. Now I leave, I said. Marcus, wait, we had a deal, Paul. I saved the bid, I'm done. But the company needs you. The project needs you. David can't manage this on his own. You know he can't. I know, I said. So you're just going to let him fail? Let the company die? Let everyone lose their jobs? No, I said. I'm going to let him ask for help. He won't ask. Then you'll lose everything. I hung up. I drove back to the motel, packed my bag, got ready to buy another bus ticket to Albuquerque, and then my phone rang. It was a number I hadn't seen in 18 months. David. I stared at his name on the screen. My hand was shaking. This was it. The moment David realized he needed me. The moment he had to admit he couldn't do this alone. I answered. Marcus. His voice was different. Smaller. Scared. Yeah. Uncle Paul told me you helped with the temp bid. I did. Long silence. Why? Because he asked me to. Another silence. I could hear David breathing. Could hear him trying to figure out what to say. How to ask for what he needed without admitting what he did. Marcus, He stopped. Started again. The project starts in 2 weeks. I need help. Real help. I can't do this alone. There it was. The admission. The break. The moment I'd been waiting for 18 months to hear. I know you can't, I said. Will you come back? And that's when I realized something that made my chest tight. I didn't want revenge anymore. I just wanted him to tell the truth. David, I said quietly, where did the money go? The line went dead silent. What? He finally said. The $340,000. Where did it go? Marcus, I'm not coming back until you tell me where the money went. I heard him breathing. Fast. Panicked. You know where it went, he whispered. Say it. I can't. Then I can't help you. Marcus, please. I hung up. I sat on the motel bed with my phone in my hand, and I waited, because David had a choice now. He could tell the truth and save the company, or he could keep lying and watch everything collapse. Either way, I wasn't saving him anymore. My phone buzzed 5 minutes later. A text from David. It said, I took the money. I'm sorry. Please come home. I stared at David's text for 20 minutes. I took the money. I'm sorry. Please come home. 6 words that changed everything. 6 words that changed nothing. Because the money was always just money. The real theft was letting me disappear. Letting me lose Rachel. Letting me lose my reputation. Letting me lose 18 months of my life while he pretended to be me. I didn't text him back. I called Paul instead. David just confessed, I said. Paul was quiet for a long time. He told you? In a text message, like he was ordering pizza. Jesus, Paul breathed. Marcus, I didn't know. I swear to God I didn't know. When your father showed me the audit, everything pointed to you. The signatures, the access codes, everything. Because David used my login, I said. Because I gave him my passwords when he said he needed to check something for a client meeting. Because I trusted him. Why didn't you tell us that? Because he asked me not to. What? The night before the meeting, I said. David came to my apartment, told me he'd made a mistake, told me he was going to fix it, but he needed time. He asked me not to say anything. He said if I stayed quiet for a few months, he'd figure out a way to pay it back and nobody would ever have to know. And you believed him? I believed he was my brother, I said. Paul didn't say anything. I need you to do something for me, I said. Anything. I need you to tell my father what David just told me. Show him the text. Tell him I'm coming back to save the temp project, but I'm not coming back as an employee. I'm coming back as a contractor. My rate is $200 an hour, and I want a contract that says the company acknowledges I was wrongly accused. Marcus, those are my terms, Paul. Take them or leave them. Another silence. Then your father is going to want to see you. I'm sure he is. Are you going to see him? After the temp project is finished, I said. Not before. I drove back to Phoenix the next day. Not to my father's company. Not to Paul's house. I drove to an apartment complex in Tempe and I rented a furnished one-bedroom with a 6-month lease. Paid first and last month in cash. Bought a new laptop. Set up a card table in the living room. This was my office now. If they wanted my help, they came to me. Paul showed up on Tuesday with a contract and an apology. The contract said everything I asked for. $200 an hour. Acknowledgement of wrongful accusation. Independent contractor status. 60-day engagement with option to extend. The apology was shorter. "I'm sorry we didn't believe you," Paul said. "I'm sorry we didn't ask more questions. I'm sorry we let you leave." "You didn't let me leave," I said. "You pushed me out. I know. And now you need me back." "Yes." I signed the contract. "Where's David?" "At the office. He's been there since 6 this morning. He's trying to get everything ready for the temp kickoff meeting next week." "Is he going to be at the meeting?" "He has to be. He's the project lead." "Not anymore," I said. "I'm the project lead. David can be my assistant if he wants, but I'm running this project. That's non-negotiable." Paul looked uncomfortable. "Your father isn't going to like that." "My father is in the hospital because David nearly destroyed his company," I said. "My father doesn't get a vote right now. David isn't going to like it either. I don't care what David likes." Paul left with the signed contract. I started working immediately. Called the subcontractors, confirmed the schedule, reviewed the permits, did everything David should have been doing for the past 2 weeks. At 7 o'clock that night, someone knocked on my apartment door. I knew who it was before I opened it. David was standing in the hallway. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. His shirt was wrinkled. His eyes were red. He'd lost weight too. Not the good kind. The kind you lose when stress eats you alive from the inside. "Can I come in?" he asked. I stepped aside. He walked into my apartment and looked around. Card table, laptop, sleeping bag on the floor because I hadn't bought a bed yet. This was what his theft had reduced me to. He saw it. I watched him see it. "Marcus," he started. "Don't," I said. "I need to explain." "There's nothing to explain." "David, you stole money. You used my login. You let everyone think I did it. You watched me get fired. You watched Rachel leave. You watched me disappear. And you said nothing." "I was scared," he said. "Of what?" "Of Dad? Of losing everything. Of everyone knowing I fucked up. So you let me lose everything instead." He nodded, tears running down his face. "I thought I could fix it. I thought if I just worked hard enough, made the company successful enough, I could pay the money back and then tell everyone the truth. I thought I could make it right. How'd that work out?" I asked. He looked at the floor. "I'm not you, Marcus. I tried to be. I tried to do what you did, but I don't know how. I don't understand the bids. I don't understand the schedules. I don't understand any of it. I've been faking it for 18 months, and now everything is falling apart. If you've ever watched someone admit they destroyed you and still expected you to feel sorry for them, leave a comment. Because I almost walked out of my own apartment." "Why are you here?" I asked. "To ask for your help." "You already did that." I said, "Yes, I'm running the temp project." "Not just the project," David said. "I need you to teach me. I need you to show me how to do this job, how to run the company, how to be you." "I'm not teaching you how to be me," I said. "I'm not your mentor anymore. I'm not your brother anymore. I'm a contractor who's here to save one project so 30 people don't lose their jobs. When the project is done, I'm gone again. Where will you go?" "Anywhere you're not." He flinched like I'd hit him. "Do you hate me?" I thought about that question for a long time. Did I hate him? I hated what he did. I hated how long he let me suffer. I hated that he was standing in my apartment asking for help after he'd stolen my entire life. But I didn't hate him. I felt nothing for him, and that was worse. "No," I said. "I don't hate you. I don't feel anything about you anymore." "Marcus, the kickoff meeting is Monday at 9, I said. "You're going to be there. You're going to smile. You're going to shake hands. You're going to pretend like everything is fine. And then you're going to do exactly what I tell you to do. If you question me, I walk. If you undermine me, I walk. If you try to take credit for my work, I walk. Do you understand? He nodded. Good. Now get out. He left. I sat down at my card table and went back to work. The kickoff meeting was brutal. The developer brought 8 people. Engineers, architects, project managers. They all knew Chen Construction's reputation. They all knew about the Scottsdale disaster. They all knew about the Mesa lawsuit. They were there to make sure we didn't fuck this up. David was nervous the entire drive to the meeting. He kept asking me questions. What if they ask about Scottsdale? What if they ask about the safety violations? What if they ask why the bid numbers changed? Tell them the truth, I said. What truth? That you hired a consultant who knows what he's doing. They're going to ask who the consultant is. Then tell them. They're going to Google you, Marcus. They're going to see the embezzlement story. Good, I said. Let them see it. Let them ask about it. Let them wonder why a company would hire someone accused of stealing $340,000, and then I'll tell them the truth.
What truth?
That I was never charged with anything, that the investigation was dropped, that I'm back because I'm the only person who can deliver this project on time and under budget. David looked sick. What if they don't believe you? Then we lose the contract and you lose the company, I said. But at least you'll finally be telling the truth about something. We walked into the meeting together. The developer's lead project manager was a woman named Caroline Hart, 50s, sharp eyes. She'd built half of Temp in the past decade. She knew everyone in Phoenix construction. She knew me. Marcus Chen, she said when we walked in. I heard you were back. Temporarily, I said. I heard a lot of things about you, she said. Want to tell me which ones are true? I didn't steal anything, I said. And I can prove it by delivering this project exactly the way I promised in the bid. Why should I believe you? Because you already do, I said. You picked our bid even though it was $2 million higher than the other offers. You picked it because you read every line. You saw the real numbers. You saw the real timeline. You saw the real safety protocols. And you know the difference between someone who knows what they're doing and someone who's faking it. Caroline smiled. I like you, Marcus, but I don't like surprises. If there's drama with your company, I need to know now. I looked at David. He was staring at the table, frozen. There's no drama, I said. There's just work, and I'm very good at work. Then let's get started, Caroline said. The meeting lasted 3 hours. We walked through every phase of the project: foundation, framing, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, finishes. I answered every question. I explained every decision. I showed them the schedule with built-in buffer time for weather and permit delays. I did what I used to do. I made them trust us. David barely spoke the entire meeting. He nodded when I introduced him. He passed me documents when I asked for them. He took notes. But everyone in that room knew who was really running the project. Caroline walked us out at the end. Marcus, she said quietly, I'm glad you're back, but I'm also going to be watching this project very carefully. If anything goes wrong, I'm pulling the contract. I don't care about your family business or your complicated history. I care about results. You'll get results, I said. She shook my hand and left. David and I walked to the parking lot in silence. When we got to his truck, he finally spoke. Thank you, he said. For what? For not telling them. For not embarrassing me in front of Caroline. I looked at him. Really looked at him. My younger brother. The person I'd protected. The person I'd sacrificed everything for. He still didn't understand. I didn't protect you in there, David, I said. I protected the project. I protected the 30 people who are going to work this job. I protected the company Dad spent 30 years building. I didn't do any of it for you. I know, he said quietly. Do you? He didn't answer. I got in my truck and drove back to my apartment. Paul called me an hour later. Caroline just called your father, he said. She told him you ran the meeting. She told him she wouldn't have approved the project if you hadn't been there. She told him to do whatever it takes to keep you. Good, I said. Your father wants to see you. I told you, after the project. He's getting out of the hospital tomorrow, Marcus. He wants to see you before the project starts. He wants to apologize. He can apologize after I finish saving his company. Marcus. I spent 18 months with nothing. Paul. No job, no money, no family, no future. I slept in my car for 3 weeks because I couldn't afford rent. I ate 1 meal a day because that's all I could afford. I worked construction sites where people treated me like shit because I was just another laborer. And the entire time, everyone I loved believed I was a thief. My voice was shaking. I made myself stop, made myself breathe. Your father can wait another 60 days, I said. He's had 18 months to call me. He can wait 60 more days. Paul didn't argue. The temp project started the following Monday. I was on site at 6 in the morning every day. David showed up at 7. He did what I told him to do. He didn't ask questions. He didn't challenge me. He just worked. And slowly, people started noticing. The crews noticed first. They remembered me. They remembered how I ran projects. They remembered that nobody got hurt when I was in charge. They remembered getting paid on time. They started trusting the company again. The suppliers noticed next. They started returning my calls. They started giving us better prices. They started prioritizing our orders. The subcontractors noticed. They started showing up on time. They started doing quality work. They started caring about the project because they knew I cared. After 3 weeks, Caroline pulled me aside. I heard something interesting, she said. What's that? I heard your father's company was about to go bankrupt before you came back. Where'd you hear that? Everyone knows everything in this city, Marcus. What I want to know is why you came back. I thought about her question, about the real answer, about the truth I couldn't tell anyone because it sounded too small and too petty and too complicated. I came back because people needed me to, I said. Not your brother? No. Not your father? No. Then who? The people who don't deserve to lose their jobs because my family is a mess, I said. Caroline studied my face for a long time. You're a good man, Marcus Chen. A lot of people would have let this company burn. I thought about it, I said honestly. What changed your mind? I realized revenge isn't watching someone fail, I said. It's making them watch you succeed. She smiled. I like that. She walked away. And I realized she was right. The best revenge wasn't David losing. The best revenge was me winning. That night my phone rang. It was my father. I stared at his name for a long time. Then I answered. Marcus, he said. His voice sounded old, tired, broken. Dad, I need to see you. I know. Will you come to the house, please? I closed my eyes. Yeah, I'll come. When? Tomorrow night, I said. After the site closes. Thank you, he said. He hung up. I sat in my apartment for a long time after that call, and I realized something that scared me. I didn't want my father to apologize. I wanted him to understand what he did. I wanted him to understand that when he chose to believe David over me, he didn't just fire me. He killed something inside me that could never come back, and I didn't know if I could forgive him for that, even if he asked. My father's house looked smaller than I remembered. Same brick. Same driveway. Same tree in the front yard where David and I used to climb when we were kids. But everything felt compressed, like I'd grown too big for the memory. I sat in my truck for 10 minutes before I went to the door. My mother answered. She looked at me and her face crumpled. She pulled me into a hug before I could say anything. She smelled like the same perfume she'd worn my entire life. It made my chest hurt. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry, baby, I'm so sorry. She was crying. I wasn't. I didn't know if I'd forgotten how or if there was just nothing left to cry about. It's okay, Mom, I said. It's not okay. None of this is okay. She pulled back and looked at me. Really looked at me. Saw the weight I'd lost. The scar on my arm. The way I'd changed into someone she didn't recognize. You look so different, she said. I am different. She nodded like she understood. Like she knew there was no going back to who I used to be. He's in the study, she said quietly. He's been waiting all day. I walked through the house. past the kitchen where we used to eat Sunday dinners, past the living room where we used to watch football, past the photos on the walls of me and David at every age, smiling. Together, brothers. The study door was open. My father was sitting in his leather chair, the same chair he'd sat in when he taught me how to read blueprints, when he explained why quality mattered more than speed, when he told me I was going to run the company someday. He looked old, not just older, old, like the heart attack had aged him a decade in 3 weeks. "Marcus," he said. His voice broke on my name. I stood in the doorway. "Dad, come in, please. Sit down." I didn't sit. I stayed standing. He saw that I wasn't going to make this easy. "I don't know where to start," he said. "Start with the truth," I said. He nodded slowly. "Paul showed me David's text, the confession. I've spent the past 2 days trying to understand how I didn't see it, how I believed you were capable of stealing from me. Why did you believe it?" I asked. "Because the evidence was clear. The signatures, the access codes, the withdrawals, everything pointed to you." "That's not what I asked," I said. "I asked why you believed it, why you looked at all that evidence and never once thought it might be wrong, never once asked me to explain, never once gave me a chance to defend myself." My father looked down at his hands. "Because I was angry, because the company was bleeding money and I needed someone to blame, and you were the easiest target. I was your son. I worked for you for 7 years. I built the residential division from nothing. I never missed a deadline, never cut corners, never gave you a reason not to trust me. I know. And you threw me away in one meeting." My father's hands were shaking. "I know. Do you?" I asked. "Do you really know what you did? You didn't just fire me, Dad. You destroyed me. You called the police. You told everyone I was a thief. You made it impossible for me to work in this city. You took away my future, and you did it without asking a single question." "I'm sorry," he said. "God, Marcus, I'm so sorry." "Sorry doesn't give me back 18 months, I said. "Sorry doesn't give me back Rachel. Sorry doesn't give me back my reputation. Sorry doesn't give me back the person I was before you decided I was guilty." "What can I do?" he asked. "Tell me what to do. Tell me how to fix this." "You can't fix this." The words hung in the air between us. My father looked up at me. His eyes were wet. "Then why did you come back?" That was the question, the real question. Why did I come back to save a company that destroyed me? Why did I help a father who didn't believe me? Why did I protect a brother who stole from me? If you've ever done the right thing for people who did the wrong thing to you, leave a comment, because I still don't know if I made the right choice. "I came back because 30 people were going to lose their jobs," I said. "I came back because you built something worth saving, even if you don't deserve to keep it. I came back because I'm better than the person you thought I was." "You are?" my father said. "You always were. I should have known that." "Yeah?" I said. "You should have." We sat in silence for a long time. I could hear my mother in the kitchen, could hear her crying quietly, could hear the life I used to have happening in another room without me. "The temp project is going well," my father finally said. "I know. Caroline says you're doing exceptional work." "I always did exceptional work." "I know," he said quietly. "Marcus, when this project is done, will you stay? Will you come back to the company? We'll make it official. Co-president, equal partner with David, whatever you want." I almost laughed. "You think I want to work with David? He's your brother. He stopped being my brother when he let everyone think I was a thief. He's trying to make it right." "No," I said. "He's trying to learn how to do my job so he doesn't need me anymore. He's not sorry about what he did. He's sorry he got caught. There's a difference." My father didn't argue. He knew I was right. "What are you going to do after temp?" he asked. "I don't know yet," I said. "You could start your own company. I could help you. Contacts, clients, loans if you need them." "I don't want your help, Dad. I don't want anything from you." He flinched. "Then why are you here?" "Because you asked me to come," I said. "And because I wanted you to see what you lost when you decided I was guilty." I left before he could respond. My mother caught me at the front door. She hugged me again. tighter this time, like she was trying to hold on to something that was already gone. "Are we going to see you again?" she asked. "I don't know, Mom. Please don't disappear again. I can't lose you twice." "You didn't lose me," I said gently. "You gave me away." I got in my truck and drove back to my apartment. The temp project finished 2 weeks ahead of schedule, under budget, 0 safety incidents, 0 change orders, 0 surprises. Caroline was so impressed, she offered me 3 more contracts on the spot. I turned them all down. "Why?" she asked. "Because I'm done with Phoenix," I said. "Where are you going?" "Somewhere nobody knows my name." She studied my face. "You're good at this, Marcus, really good. Don't let what happened here stop you from building something for yourself." "I won't," I said. "Promise me." "I promise." We shook hands. She left. The project was done. My contract with Chen Construction was complete. I had one more thing to do. David was waiting for me at the site office. It was just the 2 of us. The crews had all gone home. The sun was setting. The building behind us was finished. Perfect. Exactly like I designed it. "We did it," David said. "I did it," I said. "You watched." He nodded. I know you saved us. I know you saved the company. I know you saved me. I didn't save you, David. I just stopped you from drowning other people." "What happens now?" he asked. "Now you run the company," I said. "You do the job. You learn from your mistakes. You become the person you should have been 18 months ago. Without you, without me. I can't do this alone, Marcus. You know I can't." "Then hire someone who can," I said. "Hire a real project manager. Hire a real estimator. Hire people who know what they're doing. Stop pretending you're me and start figuring out who you actually are." "What if I fail?" "Then you fail," I said. "And Dad loses the company, and everyone loses their jobs, and you have to live with that. Just like I had to live with what you did to me." David was quiet for a long time. "Do you forgive me?" That was the question he really wanted to ask. The question I'd been avoiding for 8 weeks. Did I forgive him? "No," I said. "I don't forgive you. I don't think I ever will. What you did to me was unforgivable. You didn't just steal money. David, you stole my life. You stole 18 months. You stole my future. You stole my trust. And you did it because you were weak and scared and selfish." Tears were running down his face. "I know, but I also don't hate you anymore," I said. "I don't think about you anymore. I don't care what happens to you anymore. I'm done carrying you. I'm done protecting you. I'm done sacrificing myself so you can keep pretending everything is fine." "So this is it?" he asked. "This is goodbye?" "Yeah," I said. "This is goodbye." I walked to my truck. David called after me. "Marcus." I stopped, turned around. "I'm sorry," he said. "I know it doesn't mean anything. I know it doesn't fix anything. But I need you to know I'm sorry." "I know you are," I said. "But being sorry doesn't change what you did. It just means you finally understand how much it hurt." I got in my truck and drove away from the temp site for the last time. I went back to my apartment, packed everything I owned into 2 boxes and a duffel bag, loaded it into my truck, left the keys on the counter, and I left Phoenix. I didn't tell anyone I was leaving. Didn't say goodbye to Paul or my mother. Didn't leave a forwarding address. I just left, because that's what I learned in those 18 months. Sometimes the only way to win is to walk away. Sometimes revenge isn't destroying someone. It's letting them destroy themselves. And sometimes silence is the most powerful weapon you have. I drove north, stopped in Flagstaff for the night, sat in a diner at midnight with coffee I didn't drink and a burger I didn't eat. My phone buzzed. A text from Paul. "Caroline wants to hire you directly. She's offering $200 $50K a year plus equity. She says you're the best PM she's ever worked with. Call me." I stared at the message for a long time. $250,000 a year. Equity. Respect. A chance to build something real. Everything I lost. Everything I could have again. But it meant going back to Phoenix. It meant seeing David. It meant watching him run the company while I built someone else's projects. It meant staying in the place where everyone believed I was a thief. I deleted the text. I called Paul. "I'm not coming back," I said. "Marcus, this is an incredible opportunity. Caroline is one of the best developers in Arizona. This could change your life." "My life already changed," I said. "I'm not going backward." "Where are you going?" "I don't know yet," I said. "But I know it's not Phoenix." "What about your father? What about David? What about the company?" "That's not my problem anymore," I said. "I saved the temp project. I fulfilled my contract. I'm done." "Marcus, tell Dad I hope he gets better. Tell Mom I love her. Tell David good luck." "What should I tell Caroline?" "Tell her thank you," I said. "But tell her I'm building something for myself now." I hung up. I finished my coffee. And I realized something that made me smile for the first time in 18 months. I won. Not by destroying David. Not by exposing him. Not by taking back what he stole. I won by walking away with my integrity intact. I won by proving I could save something I had no obligation to save. I won by showing everyone what they lost when they believed I was guilty. And most importantly, I won by refusing to let what happened to me define who I became. David has to live with what he did. My father has to live with what he believed. Everyone who turned their back on me has to live with being wrong. But I don't have to live in Phoenix anymore. I don't have to live in the shadow of their mistake. I get to start over. And this time, I'm building something nobody can take from me. I left Flagstaff at dawn, drove toward Colorado with no plan and no destination. Just me and a truck and a future that belonged to me again. 3 months later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but I did. "Is this Marcus, Jen?" A woman's voice. Professional. Warm. "Yeah." "My name is Amanda Torres. I'm a developer in Denver. Caroline Hart gave me your number. She said you're the best project manager she's ever worked with, and I'd be an idiot not to call you." I smiled. "Caroline's very kind. She also told me you walked away from a $250K offer in Phoenix because you wanted to build something for yourself. Is that true?" "Yeah." "What if I told you I have a project that needs someone like you? And what if I told you I'm looking for a partner, not an employee?" I pulled over to the side of the highway, watched the mountains in the distance. "Tell me more," I said. And that's when I realized the real revenge. The real revenge wasn't watching David fail. It was building something so successful that everyone who doubted me would spend the rest of their lives wondering what they could have had if they just believed me. The real revenge was proving that silence doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerous. Because while everyone was talking, I was planning. While everyone was blaming, I was learning. While everyone was assuming, I was becoming someone they couldn't recognize anymore. Someone stronger. Someone smarter. Someone they couldn't destroy even if they tried. And that's the part people never understand about revenge. You don't have to destroy someone to win. You just have to build something so good they realize what they lost. And then you keep building. And you never look back. I'm in Denver now. I've been here for 2 years. I own part of a development company that's doing $60 million in annual revenue. We've completed 8 projects, 0 safety incidents, 0 lawsuits, 0 failures. Caroline sends me client referrals regularly. We talk every few months. She asked me once if I ever regret leaving Phoenix. If I ever think about going back? I told her the truth. Phoenix is where I learned what I was capable of surviving. Denver is where I learned what I was capable of becoming. And I'm never going back to the person I was before. I heard from Paul last month. He told me David is struggling, that the company is barely holding on, that my father's health is declining, that they miss me. I didn't respond, because I learned something important in those 18 months I disappeared. You can't save people who don't want to be saved. You can't fix people who won't admit they're broken. And you can't give people closure they haven't earned. So I'm building my life. I'm building my company. I'm building my future. And somewhere in Phoenix, David is learning to live with what he did. My father is learning to live with what he believed. And everyone who thought I was finished is learning that the biggest mistake you can make is underestimating someone who has nothing left to lose. Because people with nothing left to lose don't fight back the way you expect. They don't yell. They don't threaten. They don't burn bridges. They just disappear. And then they come back stronger than you ever imagined possible. And by the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. They've won. And you're the one left wondering what the hell just happened. That's the revenge. That's the victory. That's the ending nobody saw coming, including me. End of story. If this story hit you, if you've ever been blamed for something you didn't do, if you've ever protected someone who betrayed you, if you've ever had to choose between the truth and your own survival, leave a comment. Tell me your story, because I know I'm not the only one who learned that sometimes the quietest victories are the ones that echo the loudest. And if you're somewhere in the middle of your own battle right now, somewhere in your own 18 months, somewhere in your own silence, just know this: they think you're finished. They're wrong. Stay with me for more stories like this. Hit subscribe. And remember, the person who walks away isn't the one who loses. The person who walks away is the one who's already won.